What is up, guys? It has been quite a while, but this isn't really going to be an actual video, more of just me walking around my Planet Coaster world. So today we are going to be looking at my very first park on my PlayStation and comparing it to my latest park, which I'm probably going to get copyrighted for, but do I care? No. So we're going to be looking at all the roller coasters, and we're going to start off with my first few coasters. This is actually a pretty interesting park for me because this is where I built my first Giga coaster, floorless coaster, really weird roller coaster, and I named this Wooden Hyper Grandson of Beast, which is really kind of cringe. But so we're going to start off with the Giga. I'm going to be saying what I did right, what I did wrong on all these rides. And recently going to Cedar Point Carowinds, I have a lot more. We're just going to speed up the watch. I have a lot more inspiration for all my rides. So one thing I'm going to look at also is one of my B&M Hypers, my favorite B&M Hyper I've built. It's inspired by Intimidator at Carowinds. I think I actually published it, but we're still going to compare it. So first thing you're going to notice is that drop is not as steep as something like Leviathan, and that's because I was too afraid to go that steep. It's actually an interesting element right there. So that drop is like that's not a good element right there because it's very gradual. It's not going to give you much ejector airtime or floater airtime because it's too gradual. Don't know what that was supposed to do. If that was supposed to give you airtime, it was terribly done. This is unbanked. This makes no sense. Look at the fear. Look at how high the fear got on this one. Yes, I am basically judging myself in this video, but I have no content because for whatever reason I'm not allowed to stream Minecraft on my PS5 anymore because my PS5 has an issue with that. So so it looks like you're gonna be stuck watching Planet Coaster POVs. I'm sorry about that. Interesting coaster. And also, I just wanted to, this is before I pre-built my brake runs. Now I build my brake runs as my first thing to make sure I don't get a whack brake run like that one is. But as you can see, I didn't do any like theming. Like there's these like, I don't even know what these like. This gives me like Poseidon vibes, and then there's a spaceship, and then there's also this thing, an airlock archway. So I don't know what's up with the theming here. But the next one we're going to look at is probably the most embarrassing one to me nowadays, is this one called Stingray. This was originally going to be an invert, but then, there we go. It was going to originally be an invert, but then I just didn't like the way it was like an invert, so I flipped it into a flying coaster, and it's better as a flying coaster, but it's still an awful layout, and, like, look at that. This banking is terrible. I mean, that first loop, I will give myself credit, is well placed. That could break someone's neck right there. What is this exactly? See, you're gonna dive down, then you're gonna dive up a corkscrew at a very high elevation. That would be kind of cool, actually. See, that's a cool flyby. Alright, this part is the worst part right here. Ugh. And then you just dive right back. This reminds me of Adventure Express at Kings Island in the back row. You have 50 miles an hour left and don't use those 50 miles per hour. And you slam right into the brake run, which is not good for a flying coaster. Alright, so it was interesting, to say the least. That one was. This is one that there's not much wrong with it. There's just a lot of things that it could have done better at. This was like my first take at a GCI like Mystic Timbers. And Mystic Timbers is still my only GCI I've ever done. So I don't really have much, I don't know what other GCIs feel like because I've only done the best one. So enjoy. One thing I've always liked, I like that first drop. and the banking on this part isn't the worst, it's not the best. That might hurt or give good airtime. But also, it's kind of weird banking. It's very sharp banking. It's not really well, like, one thing I used to do is I would rely on the brake runs to fix all the nausea. At this point, it's absolutely crawling for the layout. Yeah, I don't know. That's just so weird. But, alright, so that's a really short ride too. Alright, Grandson of Beast. A wooden hypercoaster. I just had to go with that meme. But, alright, according to this is a good ride. Now we're gonna speed this one up. I think this one, alright, let's see. 3,000 feet of track on a hypercoaster. Yeah, that's not gonna work. 1 second of airtime on this entire hypercoaster layout thing. Whatever this thing does. That does nothing. Doesn't help. That does not help with the layout at all. That would hurt. If you sped up. No, it's not. That was not sped up. Okay, this is the worst part. Trying to make an inversion. See, that would give airtime. But Planet Coaster doesn't do good with airtime sometimes. The Ride-Off is very proud of herself. Alright. So now, alright, we have 3 more coasters left in this park, and I don't like this park, honestly. I mean, when I started out, I would think, oh, this is pretty much Cedar Point. No, this is not Cedar Point. That was before I went to Cedar Point. Now I've been to Cedar Point. And, yeah, it's not Cedar Point. It's a pretty bad park. I wouldn't be interested in going to this anymore. Okay, here we are. Alright, we got this floorless coaster. This is before I've done any floorless coasters. So this was, I guess it was supposed to be like Rougarou. It looks nothing like Rougarou, and the banking is terrible. There's trim brakes on the first drop, which is, yeah, that's dumb. So when we look at my most recent park, we're not going to look at everything though, because I have the Giga at that park isn't done, and the Hyper there I am planning to get rid of because I don't like the Hyper. I think it's an embarrassing Hyper. I don't think it's very well done, and you had 50 miles an hour left going into the brake run. Okay, I don't like that. This is not a good floorless coaster. And it's not a very well presented coaster either. None of these are very well presented. Like, I guess that being a roar is kind of intimidating to GP, but... Oh. Okay, now we've got this thing called Scream. And then we're gonna look at... What do we look at next? Okay, well placed first element. Kinda whippy. That's an awful banking right there. Very gradual, doesn't do much. That's not... Alright, that'll give airtime, but it'd also be that would not be very fun element to go through. That's pretty well placed. I feel like it'd be better if that were to be a finished, and yep, that's the part where I always want to forget about. The brake run doesn't even have brakes on it. What the heck? It's so short of a ride, like, that's not even that long. Orion's longer than that. There's not even a second of airtime. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna think about this one nowadays, but see, this was a very ambitious project, I guess is how you could say it. It was to build an RMC T-Rex, which, for the record, none have been built yet. But I also tried to do an upside down first drop, and I did it. And honestly, it turned out, yeah. Look at the nausea. It's so weird. But look at this. Speed goes down to 4 miles an hour. 55 miles an hour. Then you do a bunny hop, which it looks so slow. I don't know if it's just me, but that looks so slow. And then you have this really pointless ow. Turn, brake run. Okay, this park's not very good. I mean, I would say that this GCI right here is fine. This is a very, I'm gonna be honest, it's a very bland B&M Giga, and obviously Cedar Fairs works with B&M, so I mean I'm sure they do something better. But this first hill, like what is this? Like what is this angle? And then it doesn't even reach. That's not 80 degrees at least, but that's fine because it's one of my first ones. It's actually my first park I ever quote unquote finished. What park is this right here? I don't know what park that is. But, alright, we can go ahead and look at, we're gonna look at, hang on, let me find a Kings Point. Alright, here we are. So we're gonna look at all 3 coasters from here. This is like July, so I don't know how well this one is. I don't really go to this park anymore. I mean, it's fake, but like, I don't visit my old parks. I always just kind of forget about them, and like, I'll just look at them like this, maybe once every once in a while. But the main thing I want to look at here is this hyper coaster, which is named Conqueror. I think it's already on my YouTube channel, but I would honestly think that would be better than. Alright, here we go. But alright, so, this was inspired to be like Vortex, but Vortex is better than this because it's a real roller coaster. But honestly, I don't think this one's awful. But that's also from July Me, and like that first drop is done well. It has that weird first part of Vortex has where it swoops down, swoops back up, then goes back into back-to-back inversions, both vertical loops, pretty high off the ground, which is pretty cool. And they're perfect like size elements too, because they won't bang your head around. I mean, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be something that will hurt. But and then here. These, alright, that would hurt. I'm not gonna lie right there. That is going way too fast to be going through a corkscrew. It's actually an aero corkscrew. What was that? Alright. So there's only 2 parts of this ride where I would say are kind of embarrassing, but we're also not done yet. But swoop down. Alright, that'd be a cool near miss. Kind of gradual part, and then oh yeah, I forgot. This part, it needs a chain lift to go back into the station, which I mean, it's fine. It's not like an obnoxious one like Tennessee Tornado or Adventure Express. It's just a quick pop, and then that can also work as a block section for in case I need to immediately block the station. But I honestly don't think this is too bad. I mean, yeah, there are some sloppy moments, but I don't know. Alright, we're not looking at the kiddie coaster unless it's a kiddie coaster. It doesn't matter. But right here is one of my favorite designs ever. I just recently watched this one, so. And this one's not too embarrassing. There's only one part of it. So, when Planet Coaster finishes, they just do the quickest way they can find to finish the ride. So the way it finishes is very sloppy. But other than that, I think it's a good ride. Nothing like too bad. Okay. Sorry you missed that first drop, it's beyond vertical. And then you do a bunny hop. That's one of the moments where I'm like, ah. You see, that's a good moment right here. This 0-0 is going through a bit faster than it should. That's a perfectly timed element. This is the part. Alright, that was just a bit sloppy. It wasn't too bad though. But then you have a mini dive off, kind of like Valraven or every other dive coaster in existence. You're losing a lot of speed right here, and right here, this transition is awful. But this was a Planet Coaster autofill transition right here. I fixed it. It used to be worse. It used to like be like this, where like in that little tiny bunny hop, it would get the nausea to like 15. So I did some proper banking on it, and I think it turned out well. So now we're gonna look at what I would consider probably one of my best designed, if not my best designed coaster of all time. Because it's realistic. There's only one part of this where I would say it's a bad element. And you'll see. So this was inspired by Intimidator at Carowinds. Paint, color scheme, everything. Because Intimidator is my favorite hypercoaster. But I've only been on Diamondback and Intimidator, so. And if any coaster enthusiasts aren't watching this and you're like, okay, what are you talking about? It's normal, don't worry. But like, if you look at these elements, they're timed better than. But this is the one that's very gradual because I had to fix. There was a hill that was so small that it was like really nauseous, and I was like, ew, I don't want that on this. And here's the mid-course. So the one thing I did think was funny when I went to Carowinds was when they were testing Intimidator the morning I was leaving, it was going so slow off that mid-course that I thought it was gonna valley. And apparently, and I asked like a few locals, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's normal. Yeah, it always looks like that." I'm like, "What? Like you're joking?" And if you can see it running through there, it's very graceful. And this one actually gives airtime, 10 seconds, well 9 seconds. But now we are going to load. Please don't copyright me. I'm gonna turn away from the logo as quick as I can. There's nothing else. There's no other. But we're gonna look away because it has the Cedar Point logo. And please, 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 please don't. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. You didn't. It wasn't seen. Alright, so this is my most common park. I'm trying to block the view. So this is the hypercoaster I'm talking about. Look at this little turn right here. And then right here, these two little bunny hops aren't very well done. We have a 250-foot RMC. We have a Millennium Force mock-up. We have one named Perseus, similar to the and like I actually have people coming to these parks. I feel like, well, your first one, no one was there. That's because that one was closed. But if you look around, it's a nice looking bird. Like, I mean, I haven't, and like right now I'm working on scenery. I'm working on getting flat rides in. I got most coasters I want built, and then I'll probably be done with the park. I'll use it for a show park now. Maybe I'll live stream on it if Planet Coaster is in Block 2. So we're gonna do this swooping turn into the brake run. Right here. Mid-course. Alright, this is also like this could totally be a real one. Like this could totally be a real B&M invert. It's just well built. And I'm not trying to sound snotty when I say that. The only thing I have an issue with, and this isn't like bad or anything, is it's going very slow into the brake run right here. But it doesn't really matter either. It's because it's the brake run. It's not like a 0G or stall or anything like that. So there's that one. Corkscrew. This is gonna be a plot on land. I don't know what I'm gonna use this for. It used to be a corkscrew, and it had I think 40,000 guests in its lifetime. This one is one of my most popular, 31,000 guests, and it's 14 years old. Alright, so that one's a bit older. This one I think 43,000, and then my Giga is the other one with High tennis. This is your basic boarding coaster, so you don't really need to see that one. Is this one shut down? No. Is this one stacking? No, it's not. Ah! Alright, this is a fast chain lift. Alright, there is only one moment on this Giga coaster that I wish didn't happen. And that wasn't my fault. That was Planet Coaster auto banking. See, even that part, alright, it's right here, look. It's just like, there's 2 moments, and then you have a speed hill. This is going faster than it should go. There we go. It was going at 2 times the speed. Sorry, I'm not gonna edit that out. See, Planet Coaster's auto baking is just terrible. And also, but like, and this is a relief moment. I had to throw in the iconic Millennium Force straight track. What would Millennium Force be without straight track? A good ride. I'm just kidding. Millennium Force is still a good ride. Ignore me when I say that. And then it glides into the brake run. It's very similar to Millennium Force. In fact, it's like almost a direct mock-up. Like, I mean, it even looks like Millennium Force's first drop. And then we have a family coaster right here. And this is still a work in progress. This is, yeah. And then, alright, our final coaster we're going to look at is Devil's Revenge. This is actually an RMC of one coaster I did have here named Trim Breaks the Ride, aka Mean Streak. So, alright. But I didn't want to RMC it like Steel Vengeance, even though Steel Vengeance is my favorite coaster of all time. But, alright, so we're going to go into a little bunny hop. Let me look. See, this would that would give airtime, but it says 3 seconds of airtime. There's 4 inversions, 5,700 feet of track. It's not even realistic, but I don't care. Here we go. There's originally like 6,600 feet of track. I'm like, yeah, I'm not adding that to my park. See, sideways airtime is awesome. Intense moments of ejector airtime makes you nauseous, but it's so worth being nauseous. And then you dive into, and then I don't even know what type of element you would call that, except it looks cool. This is definitely my first take on an intense coaster, except for this moment. And then you do a small bunny hop over. This originally had a mid-course brake run, but it lost so much speed that I just didn't like it. And this one does lose way too much speed on this little tiny hill. And then you start diving down, and then you lose a lot of speed. You go upside down. You overbank turn. Tiny bunny hop, which doesn't give any airtime, and then you glide into the brake. It's a good ride. I'm still not, I would say, a perfect at building coasters, but it looks fine. So we're gonna go ahead and check if there's any other ones, so that would be a cool one to show. Cedar Flags. Okay. Nope, that's all my coasters, and I might be live streaming soon. I go back to school in 2 days. Hope you all have had an amazing summer, and I'll see you all next time. It could be a few months, it could be a few hours, but I'll see you all next time.